Hi guys, it's Matt the Optimist. Welcome back to my channel and happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful trick-or-treating and I hope you all have a good Halloween party and all that. Haunted houses and dances and creepy housing and sexy outfits and all that stuff. My costume is the Green Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. My mom is a huge Tommy Oliver fan and a Jason David Frank fan. As you all know, Halloween is going to be less fun this year because a lot of leftists and SJWs have policed the expression of people by preventing of those who wear costumes that they disagree with. In other words, the left is trying to prevent people from wearing certain costumes that they are offended that doesn't agree with their worldview. So they get so offended over everything, they take the fun right out of it. They expect them to be miserable as them. And the Truth Factory makes this video perfectly on why cultural appropriation is completely weaponized by the left and why it's a problem. I also show you another video of Blue Collar Logic explaining the same thing, but kind of similar from his perspective. But first, I'm going to show you this video from Truth Factory. I hope she doesn't mind me using her as my talking point here. One second. So I'm going to put my plug in here. You might hear my voice differently. Can anyone hear? Okay. All right. I'm going to do the video now. I will be talking. I'll be explaining my commentary a little bit as I go along. So.
To the Truth Factory. I'm just going to go on a weird rant for a while.
1 second.
Welcome back to the Truth Factory. I'm just going to go on a weird rant for
1 second. Let's see if I can get this louder. All right. See if you guys can hear it.
For a while. A lot of people have been going crazy or getting butthurt over Kanye's recent flip to the right and endorsement of Trump and Candace Owens.
It's the mob. The mob tries to tell you what to think. The mob tries to make all blacks be Democrats for food stamps and stuff. It's the mob.
Now, is Kanye just trying to get attention and create controversy for the release of his new album? Well, yeah, that's probably a huge part of it, but who cares? Kanye is a free thinker who isn't easily controlled, and he represents an existential threat to the Democratic Party, as he has.
Yep. If you're black, you're expected to be Democrat. If you're Republican, you're seen as a coon, a token, the house end, all that stuff. They'll see you as a race traitor, all that stuff. Black people don't have to think like liberals. They can be libertarian. They can be libertarian, like Young Whipper 59. They can be conservative or centrist. Classical liberal like Sargon of Akkad, whatever.
Has a gigantic following and couldn't be more mainstream or influential right now. So if he wants to drop some red pills and open up his audience to different political voices and perspectives, I think that's fantastic, especially since so many Illuminati celebrities are shitting themselves over this. I like anyone.
Yeah, a lot of Hollywood elites from Hollywood are very far left. Totally out of touch with reality, morally bankrupt. I can't stand them. Sorry if you hear any noises.
One who stirs it up in Hollywood, a place where celebrities are always acting like society's moral arbiters, but in actuality is just full of perverts, pedophiles, prostitutes, and fake people who do as they're told. I mean, look at these weirdos dressed up at this blasphemous Catholic-themed Met Gala. 400 years ago, these people would have all been rounded up and executed, and the clergy who hosted them would have been excommunicated. Even today, if this party were themed as blasphemous Judaism or blasphemous Islam, there would be outrage throughout the world and heads would roll. But this is where we are. Hence
why there's cultural appropriation. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not a fan of it because it's been weaponized by SJWs.
We're at in our society right now. We're appropriating and lampooning only certain cultures.
1 second. Gotta see this. 1 second. This video might be a little long, probably.
Is acceptable. Now, I personally think that people should be able to wear whatever they want.
Yes.
Fashion is subjective, and if you want to wear a melted garbage bag or this ostentatious bird cage on your head like an idiot, I don't care. That's not hurting anything except for their own dignity. But besides a few assholes like this, typically people who adopt other cultural styles don't do so with malicious intent, but are simply showing sincere cultural admiration. For a
Yeah, we wear costumes to appreciate other cultures, and yet SJWs can't see that. Unfortunate.
personal example, my father is a shamanic healer. He smokes the peace pipe, has drum circles, and at times even dons braids and feathers, and I'm pretty sure he can paint with all of the colors of the wind. But he's not a Native American, and unlike Elizabeth Warren, he doesn't claim to be. But I believe that there is a difference between someone who dedicates their life to a culture or religion that they weren't born into versus someone who puts on a headdress at Coachella to look cool. It's understandable.
Yeah, and if a Native American could wear a dress like a headpiece like that, then so can a white dude. And a white Will Witt, Will Matt or Will Witt wore something like that, and leftists just yanked it off and think that they're oppressing them by wearing that at a college campus. Cringe leftists! I hate them. I hate them.
Why seeing your religion or culture mocked in a significant or purposeful way is offensive. My problem is not with that. It's that context doesn't seem to matter anymore on this issue.
Yeah.
It's the double standard, and it's the over-the-top, politically correct outrage culture that we're living in.
Yep.
As you're probably well aware.
So, yeah, and if a black person wears a certain black outfit, a white man can't do it, can't do the same thing? Seriously. Why is it when black men dress up as whiteface pretending to be white people, and when people dress up as blackface, the whole outrage culture begins? There's a double standard here. I think you're free to wear these things as long as you're not physically harming anybody with it. Now, I'm not a fan of blackface. I think it's stupid. But whiteface, I hate it too. It's also stupid. But you know what? You're free to do it. You're not harming anything. You're not physically harming anybody, so. You're not physically harming anybody, so.
Last week, a lot of people in the Twitterverse had their panties in a twist when this girl wore this dress to prom. Jeremy Lamb tweeted, "My culture is not your goddamn prom dress."
Yeah, I mean, I like that dress. I think it looks pretty tight-fitting. But people get outraged over it because they don't want white people or people that don't fit their skin color or their culture to wear that cultural stuff. I mean, come on, it's just a dress. Anyone can wear that. What the fuck, people?
The irony of his statement is that that style of dress was originally designed in Shanghai in the 1920s in an attempt to copy Western culture. But who cares? Everyone culturally appropriates everyone else. This person is wearing my species as their prom dress, and Bruce Jenner appropriated my gender. But I'm not allowed to talk about that because it's the current year. Now, the response from China about this dress was overwhelmingly positive because she didn't do anything tacky or messed up to it, like whoever made this plate of disgrace and called it a poutine. Now, as a Canadian, I'm happy if you want to eat poutine or play hockey or basketball or watch Superman inject insulin or maple syrup, and while I take pride in my Canadian heritage, the things originating from my country do not personally belong to me, and I don't get to designate who's allowed to partake in my culture. It's not something that can be owned, and if you want to adapt it into something that I personally find gross, that's totally your choice.
Yeah, everyone should do the same. Everyone should wear whatever they want, eat whatever they want. Doesn't matter which culture it's from. You don't get to own those things like it belongs to you. Anyone can wear these things. Stop telling people what to wear just because you think a certain culture belongs to you. You don't own it. And if somebody wants to dress up as someone with autism, if someone wants to pretend to be an autistic guy, let them do it. As long as they're not using it to bully people. You know, but we can't really dictate what is bullying, what isn't anymore. It's kind of crazy.
But speaking of cultural appropriation in Canada, where was the liberal Twitter mob when Justin Trudeau did the exact same thing here? Or here?
Yeah, I've noticed that. Double standards suck.
Or here. Or here. Or here. Or here. Or here. Like a globalist Ken doll. I'm almost convinced at this point that Trudeau is actually just trolling all of us because not even Liberace acted this gay. But if Trudeau wants to play Mr. Dress Up, he has the right to do so, even though it's super embarrassing, like when your mom buys a bedazzled jean jacket and thinks she's cool.
Am I cool, kids? No.
For another example of manufactured outrage on this topic, the Southern Poverty Law Center tweeted that most festivities surrounding Cinco de Mayo in the US are textbook examples of cultural appropriation. Relegating the history and culture of Mexican people to novelty items? Mexican culture cannot be reduced to tacos, oversized sombreros, and piñatas. You got that, racists? No more tacos. Now, first off,
They should have a right to wear tacos. Even if an Asian guy can wear a sombrero, so can a white guy. Black people can wear the same thing. Hispanics, Asians, white people, black people, anyone can wear that, you know?
not sure how the SPLC suddenly became the spokesperson for what is offensive to all Mexicans. And second of all, what do they want me to do? Carry around a picture of Mexican folk artist Frida Kahlo instead of drinking tequila? What's fun about that? And I have to wonder if they're going to put out a tweet on St. Patrick's Day about how we can't drink beer.
Yeah, are Irish people gonna keep you from wearing leprechaun outfits? Keep you from eating certain Irish foods? We're not allowed to say, well, will SJWs take over pay St. Patrick's Day and tell non-Irish people not to celebrate it? Not celebrate. It's like the SJWs would want us Americans to prevent us from celebrating St. Patrick's Day because we're not Irish. What the fuck? Anyone can celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I would.
Or wear the color green. I mean, we bastardize Irish culture all of the time. Look at a box of Lucky Charms.
Yeah, I've had those.
But what about Italians?
Wow.
Both of those cultures have a history of being marginalized groups in the West, so why doesn't the SPLC care about them? Well, let's just be honest. The term cultural appropriation was not actually designed to make things more fair and respectful of other cultures. In my opinion, it seems like it's really not about culture at all, and it's actually just about race. And it's mostly used to shame white people so they can't enjoy things like tacos and yoga. And the cultural appropriation police wouldn't even disagree with that statement, as the most common objection to the racial double standard is that white people have some sort of power or privilege over minorities. But if you can freely...
I'm white and I'm a poor guy. I don't have enough money, I can't afford it. I live with my parents, they're my legal guardians, and we're poor. How do we have power over minorities? It makes zero sense.
Eat tacos on Cinco de Mayo without the SPLC getting up your ass and putting you on some sort of hate watch list, and I can't, then who really has the privilege here? Do we not?
Just letting you know, the OK symbol is not a white supremacist symbol, it's just simply an OK symbol, just saying.
Bleed the same blood? If you truly believe that other people should not be allowed to adapt or appreciate your culture because of their skin color, then you have an exclusionary, segregationist mindset. Which is fine as long as you admit that. But ironically...
Yeah, but they won't, because their worldview doesn't want to be destroyed by those who oppose them. They hate it.
It's typically people with this mindset who are also pro-immigration, in favor of open borders, and tearing down historical monuments, all while shouting diversity is our strength because of how great the blending of different cultures is.
Yeah, it's more like forced diversity and forced inclusion, and if you don't fit their worldview, they exclude you because you don't agree with them. It's a shame. And they only target straight white men, like me. And I'm autistic, so why not? Oh wait, don't do that, because it's wrong. Don't exclude people just based on their skin color, or their gender, or their sexuality, or anything else like that.
But if we aren't allowed to actually partake in the customs and traditions of other cultures, then what is the benefit of diversity? Civilizations have been benefiting by trading with, using, adapting, and assimilating into other people's cultures for centuries.
Obviously.
At this point, it's kind of like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you don't like adapting to other cultures, then you're seen as xenophobic. And if you like other people's cultures too much, then you're appropriating it. Can someone please help me navigate how much I'm allowed to enjoy other people's cultures based off of the color of my skin? If we truly believe in freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and equality, then we shouldn't get to cherry pick which cultures it's okay to appropriate and which ones aren't based on race. It's either all or...
I agree. You gotta let them do it. If you believe in free speech, freedom of expression, let them wear whatever the fuck they want, as long as they're not harming anybody physically, or threatening anybody, or stealing other people's property.
or nothing, And if it's nothing, then what is the point of living in a culturally diverse country? So before you get on your high horse and say things like, my culture is not your prom dress, remember that we all do it. Many of the things that we enjoy have been influenced by multiple nations all around the world. Think of the things that you do every day. The clothes you wear, the foods you eat, the music you listen to, the art you like, the movies.
It's like if I eat pizza, they'll think I'm culture appropriating the food I'm eating. It's like if I eat burgers, then if I eat sushi, then would I be culture appropriating Asian food? Seriously, I can eat whatever food I want.
You watch, the sports you play, the languages you speak, and then forget about it all because no one cares.
Yeah.
This is a non-issue. You're just a tiny speck of dust floating on a tiny rock in a near infinite universe, just trying to make it through like everyone else.
Yeah.
None of us are special, and according to this new quantum theory, we're probably all living in some kind of weird hologram anyway, so none of it matters. So you might as well just eat tacos full of Swedish meatballs while doing yoga, wearing a toga, and playing Mario Kart. And now that you're all having an existential crisis, I want to thank everyone for supporting me. I'm going to try to get another video.
All right. She's not wrong. We need to stop forcing people to not wear objects that we don't like. Okay? And I will show you another example on why we should have the right to say whatever words we want as long as we're not harming anybody. I'm going to... Whoops. I am really sorry about that, everybody. That was stupid. Where's the likes videos? Ah, here it is. All right. Cultural Appropriation Awareness Day. Here it is. Whoa! About. That's Halloween for you. Sorry. Alright. Ah! Whoops. It's going to take a long while. Alright. Here's another video of example why we should say whatever we want, wear whatever we want during Halloween.
Halloween is upon us again, or as the left believe it to be, Cultural Appropriation Awareness Day. Let me start off by saying that if you are offended because some white person wears a poncho and sombrero, or dresses up in whiteface as a Japanese geisha, then you are just looking for some reason to be upset. And it's just silly. So let's put costumes aside for a second and talk about cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is actually cultural appreciation. One side looks at it as a celebration of culture, while the other side sees it as stealing culture. Is Justin Timberlake stealing something when he writes a song using funky rhythms and Southern gospel melodies?
It's like the conquistadors were stealing some other people's costumes to blend in and disguise themselves to do something stupid. Yeah, I think my mom was talking about that with me a year ago or two, I think.
How about Bruno Mars, who's half Filipino, a quarter Jewish, and a quarter Puerto Rican? Is he stealing something from the culture of black people? Or is he celebrating the music he loves and the culture it comes from? I grew up in a small, predominantly white town of about 8,000 people. There were very few black people around, but black culture was everywhere. The way we dressed, the way we talked, the music we listened to, the movies we watched, and the sports we played were all heavily influenced by black culture. That was the early 90s. But get this, my father, who grew up in that same small town, had a record collection, most of which were bought before I was born. As a kid, I would play those old records a lot. Chuck Berry was the album I played the most. I would also take some of the ones I didn't like and try to scratch with them like a DJ. But I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, black people have founded jazz years ago, and that was pretty cool. I liked Louis Armstrong. I sounded just like I learned how to impersonate him, and it was a video about that years ago when my mom was in college.
And I just ended up ruining those records and eventually the record player. But here's the thing. Not only was black culture influencing my life, it had influenced my dad's life, who went to high school in the late 1950s and early 60s, in that same small, predominantly white town in Kentucky. Had my father had any musical talent whatsoever, maybe he
Yeah, I'm sorry if this lighting just dimmed a little bit. Let's see if I can...
would have sang songs from black artists he admired. He appreciated their music enough to be inspired to do so. And if he had, some people would say that's not cultural appreciation, that's cultural appropriation. The word appropriation means to take something for your own use without the owner's permission. So are we to believe that black people as a group own soul music, for example? Or that I'm part owner of country music? But how could that be?
I don't own my disability, so you can dress up like my mental disability anytime you want. You can... A neurotypical can dress as a crippled guy and get a wheelchair and pretend to be a crippled guy, you know. And I don't think Devin, young real Crip, would be offended by that because he's has more common sense. I don't think Ricky Berwick wouldn't mind if you were pretending to be some guy in a wheelchair, crippled. You know, that's fine too.
Charlie Pride was singing country music long before I was born. Charlie Pride sang the theme song for one of my favorite movies as a kid, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Doesn't a country music legend like Mr. Pride have more in the way of owning or creating that style of music than some random white guy? Should his contribution be ignored or denigrated because of his skin color? I don't think so. That would seem pretty racist to me. Check this out. After high school, I got a scholarship to play sports in college. There I was, around a lot of black people. Some people I became good friends with. One day, when I was a freshman, I was playing video games in a dorm room with a few of the football players. They had hip-hop music playing, and we were just having a good time. I recited a few of the lyrics with one of the songs, and shortly after that, a couple of the guys left rather quickly. Another guy came back and told me that they were mad at me and were thinking about beating me up. I said, for what? You used the N-word, he told me. What do you mean, I asked. I didn't use the N-word. You sang the lyrics to the song, and it had the N-word in it, he explained. I asked him, do you think I meant something bad by that? He said, no, you're just not allowed to say it. Like even in the song, I asked? He said, I know you don't mean anything.
Gina Rodriguez sang a song and the N-word was in it and she used it and it didn't seem like a big deal and yet people got offended and then she bent the knee by apologizing. It's just a word. I know there's a historical background to it, but anyone can say that word. Whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Arabic, you name it. Common sense.
By it, but Jason, you're not allowed to say it. You see, I wasn't allowed to celebrate their culture. And that's what this issue is ultimately about, keeping us divided. Claiming that if I use a word the same exact way a black person uses it is racist, or accusing a white person of appropriating black culture because he writes R&B music, is designed to keep us from coming together. I was a naive teenager that thought I would be welcomed by my new black friends just because I honestly wanted to take part in their culture.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the intentional sabotaging that was going on. I didn't realize how hard the left was working to keep it from happening.
Yep.
I was already into politics at that age and heard all of the virtue signaling done by Democrats. And I naively thought that they actually cared about the well-being of disenfranchised minorities. I quickly learned that that was not the case. A few of the guys never liked me after that, just because I wanted to celebrate their culture.
Yeah.
And anyone who brings up cultural appropriation is showing you what they're about. They don't want us to get along. They're either doing it to divide us, or they've bought into the lie that it's about taking something away from someone else. Charlie Pride and Bruno Mars haven't taken anything away from anyone.
Yeah.
In fact, they've added something wonderful to our culture, the culture that we all share. The American culture. And that's the simple truth.
And yes, in Halloween, you get to celebrate any culture you want by dressing up as a certain costume, any form of costume you want, from Hispanic culture, Arabic culture, hip hop culture. You can dress up as a sexy woman for all I care. And if people get offended by that, that's on them. You know? You can dress up as a person with autism if you want, and I won't even care. So, if these leftists truly want diversity and inclusion, they will respect our right to wear whatever the fuck we want, as long as we're not committing an actual crime like murder, theft, and rape. And if you cared about diversity, you would let little kids dress up as stormtroopers. Okay? I'm tired of people telling each other what to wear and what not to wear, what culture we should celebrate, just because we're offended by it. Okay? It's Halloween, and if you're offended, it's Halloween. We dress up in costumes. It happens. Get over it, leftists. And if you're so offended by it, don't wear any costumes. Go to safe space. Don't look at the costumes, and go live in your echo chamber, and leave us the fuck alone. Okay? Okay, that's all I gotta say. That's all I got for this video. Happy Halloween, everybody. If you like this video, press thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. If you don't want to see my video, there might be some friends or family that want to see it. So share this video share this video to everyone you know. If your friends, family want to see my video too. And if you want to see more of my content, subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell for future content. And today's the last day of this is the last video of October, and I will make a next video soon. So peace to Frel out, guys, and happy Halloween. Hold on.